me on. Let's see what we got to do here. The tip of the tongue, the lips and the teeth. The tip of the tongue, the lips and the teeth. The tip of the tongue, the lips and the teeth. Oh my, that's how we turn this on. Here we go. I think that's it. Okay. It's always a pleasure to see the Bakersfield pageant title holders. Every year they attend the gala, and their support means the world to JJ's legacy. Everyone knows that life is a journey, and for JJ's legacy, the gala has always been a compass to guide the way. Now let's go on a journey together as we travel through time to share how JJ's legacy began, where they are now, and what the future holds. Here we go. It all started so suddenly, so unexpected. And as many stories go, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Or does it? This story has all the classic elements: tragedy, a mother's love, an act of kindness. But before we get to that, we need to go back even further to the story of who this young man was.
You always had a nickname throughout if you were playing sports. You know, it was something that's either it was your middle name or your last name or your initials or something, you know, and it was Jeff John, so it was JJ.
I think the JJ really stuck well with him. I mean, it's who he was. Double J. I remember meeting him. I wasn't supposed to go to Garces. I was supposed to go to another school that we won't mention, and kind of had weird feelings about it because I didn't, know if I'd know anybody, but I knew Jeff was up there, and right when I showed up, he took me in.
And the moment I met him was one of a kind, man. He was my quarterback, you know, and I was his lineman.
He was kind of our leader, not kind of, he was our leader, to the point where, you came game time and you looked up to somebody for focus and, and to not be afraid of anything. And you could see it in his eyes. And he, portrayed that on us. Hey, we're gonna go out here, we're gonna play our best, we're gonna have a great time, and don't worry, I got you guys.
It was crazy though. It wasn't just about football. He had movie nights. He'd invite me over like on Wednesday. Hey, you wanna get some popcorn, have movie night with the girls? I'm like, what the heck? It wasn't just about football. It was always about family.
Yeah.
You think about him almost every day. Something comes on every day.
Yeah.
A music song or some video you watched. Or
he's still there.
Some movie you watched.
Yeah. We have so many memories that, there's so many things that just trigger that he lets you know that he's still there.
Like the Bengals. I watched the Bengals because he was a Bengals fan. Who was a Bengals fan?
No.
No one was. It's almost harder now that we have kids. We all have kids, and we have our kids growing up together. We're like, that would be the next chapter. It would have been amazing.
And I think about it all the time. It's kind of like, what would Jeff do? The hardest thing with losing Jeff at that time was we were invisible in our eyes. We were a pack of friends that we were going to buy houses together, have kids together, get married together. There was these things that we all thought were going to happen, and that gets taken from you. It's definitely a piece of your heart that you lose. Him passing and his legacy is greater than something that any of us can imagine.
Here we are 10 years later, 11 years later.
I could
learning from him.
Yeah, and I could be selfish and say that I would rather have my friend back, but at the same time, the impact that he's had on hundreds of people's lives, especially strangers that I've never met, is greater than me and it's greater than him.
And now that you've had a small glimpse of who JJ was, let's look at how this all began.
never forget going through the big metal doors at Kern Medical and walking down that long hall and walking into that trauma center, and there he was. He looked totally normal, but all these machines and all these different things on him, but he looked normal. And I said, oh, he's gonna be fine. And they said, maybe, you know, so they weren't telling us right at the beginning. But then as time progressed, we did find out that he was brain dead. And then after that, we did find out that he could be an organ donor. So why wouldn't you? You know, and you know, he was 27 years old, and he had so much life in him, and all of his friends were there at the hospital, which was very comforting. It was about now late in the afternoon on that Sunday, March 1st, and I walked out of the hospital, and my sister said, you know, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay, you know, God's in charge, and I said to her at that time, I really wanna do something with this. So that's a lot to take in one afternoon. You know, they've passed away, they could be an organ donor, and they can save lives. And if you're not familiar with what they're talking about, the statistics say you're gonna say no. You think about what your loved one left behind, and it gives you a lot of comfort. And there's a lot of people that don't have that comfort. And it's really comforting to know that they're still living, because they are. And you've saved somebody's life. And so that really is where my inspiration came from, was right then and there, to know that when you're asked all these questions, and I want people to know, so they don't have to make that decision for their loved one, that their loved one made that decision, and they know that they're doing the right thing. So that's why I'm educating our community. Check yes at the DMV, check yes at JJ's Legacy. Just register to be an organ donor, because it's very rare and unique to even be one.
Close your eyes and imagine yourself in this moment. A heartbeat, the very sign of life. A life that can continue through an act of kindness. The greatest gift, a second chance.
Hi, are you Lori?
For him to have come into our home and to hug us, and he didn't want to let go.
I'm sure you made the difference in a lot of lives, but you saved mine.
You feel like they're a part of you. I'm so thankful that they have a healthy life, and that they have part of my son in their life.
Good evening, I'm Mark Allen. This is my daughter Katie Allen, and as a family we believe in the importance of registering to be an organ, eye, and tissue donor. We've been supporters of JJ's Legacy since its inception, and I was actually at the hospital the night of the accident when the parents had to say yes to donate. I knew Jeff, and he was a great person, and it was just the right thing to do. Go to the DMV and register to be a donor.
Mission Bank proudly supports JJ's Legacy. I'm AJ Antongiovanni, President and CEO. Jeff was my friend, teammate, and business partner. Mission Bank promotes organ tissue donation and partners with JJ's Legacy to honor Jeff as he gave the gift of life.
Hi, I'm Tim Sullivan of Sully Chevron. The first JJ's Legacy event I attended, I was unaware of what it meant to become an organ donor. I watched all the presentations and I was so moved I immediately went online to become an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Please join me in becoming an organ, eye, and tissue donor at jjslegacy.org.
I'm Heather Van Heusen, the Patient Care Executive for Adventist Health in Kern County. We are honored to partner with JJ's Legacy because their efforts highlight the generous individuals and their families who have saved and enhanced lives by becoming organ, eye, and tissue donors. Our physicians and nurses play a crucial role in those heart-wrenching decisions, and I cannot say enough how proud I am of their sacred work.
Yeah, I remember this story. It's about the type of love everyone longs to have. It's the selfless kind of love. Reminds us of how Lori loved her son JJ, and how JJ's legacy began so many years ago.
I gave my wife my super kidney, as we like to call it.
We were waiting for our son to be born. I'll never forget the nurse running out of the room. She did a urine dip and just ran out. The pregnancy put a lot of stress on my body and knocked a kidney disease that I'd had my whole life that had gone undetected into another planet, basically. It was just too much work on my body. Then fast forward 15 years later to 2012, and I started getting infections and little things happening that just chipped away at my kidney function until all of a sudden in 2015 I was in the hospital with sepsis. Was fine after that, and then went in for the follow-up to find out that I was in complete kidney failure, and went that day to the hospital, had a port put in my chest, and started dialysis the next day. And people don't understand. They think it's like going in for a blood draw. It's not. It's 4 hours, and they take your blood out, cleans the blood, it goes back in. It's very uncomfortable. The needles they use are the sizes of nails that you would hang a picture on your wall, and they're painful going in and they're painful going out.
It's so easy to give a organ, as I found out. When we went to Cedars to go through the whole process of getting a match and seeing if I would work or not, and they said it would be 10 to 13 years until she got a match. I'm like, she doesn't have 10 to 13 years. Fast-tracked it right away. We wanted to make sure that she wasn't on dialysis for more than a year, because once you're on more than a year, then things can become an issue with the transplant. The best thing was seeing her wake up after surgery and just how glowing she was. That was the best thing ever. It's like she just gotten off a 2-week cruise or whatever. Her color in her face and everything. You just don't realize that after all those times, and just seeing her that way was just amazing.
If he had not given me his kidney, I'd be on year 6 of dialysis, since it was going to be a 10 to 13 year wait. I'm reminded every day I have a fistula because I had hemodialysis, and I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it's those are veins. That's not like anything artificial. That's my vein. I mean, it's huge because those needles are huge. And if you touch it, it's like a motor. It's hot. You can feel it. You can hear it. It sounds like a baby ultrasound. It wakes me up every night.
Wakes me up too.
It wakes him up too. But you know what? It's part of me. It reminds me every day of that year on dialysis. It reminds me of the education that's needed to our community, as well as all communities, about living donation and the need for it. And it reminds me that there are 100,000 people waiting for a kidney while I'm sitting here one of the lucky ones. And I hope it lasts 20 years. I hope it lasts 30 years. I mean, it's not going to last forever, but it's going to last a long time.
Good grief, Jeff. You gave your wife your kidney? Wow. The best thing I've given my wife was a yearly subscription to European Cheese of the Month Club. Way to make the rest of us husbands look bad. But seriously, what a wonderful example of how much humans are capable of. True love and sacrifice can create miracles. Did you know that a living donor can provide a kidney or a portion of their liver, lung, pancreas, or intestine to someone in need? And all major religions support or permit organ, eye, and tissue donation. I didn't before I read these facts, but now I do. And now, so do you.
I'm Jeff Newman from Today Cleaners. We are proud to be an original sponsor of JJ's Legacy and believe in their mission to promote and facilitate organ and tissue donation. Please join us in supporting this very important cause by giving generously. Thank you.
As a physical therapist, we know how beneficial and life-changing organ donation can be. So please, if you have not done so already, become a registered organ donor, support JJ's Legacy, and place that pink sticker on your driver's license.
Hi, I'm Michelle Oxford, President and CEO of the Bakersfield Heart Hospital, and we have been supporters of JJ's Legacy for many years. Organ and tissue donation are more important than many of us realize. Today, there are nearly 118,000 individuals waiting for an organ transplant. 90% of U.S. adults support organ donation, but only 60% are actually signed up as donors. Please join me and register as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Just go to jjslegacy.org.
Let's see, where was I? I was in the past, and now we're going to look at where JJ's Legacy is today. At a very young age, both Nathan and Tanner needed organ and tissue donation. Nathan needed heart valves, and Tanner needed tissue for severe burns on his hands. Without donors, their lives would look drastically different today. JJ's Legacy loves to celebrate with donor recipients. Partnering with Build-A-Bear is one of the tangible ways they provide comfort and joy. And oh, the joy a smiling bear can bring. Let's join Tanner and Nathan on their journey.
When you're in a crisis situation of an injury of a child, the doctors are just coming out and telling you things and telling you what's happening. So I registered that they told me that he was going to be receiving donor skin, but I didn't really process what that meant. It wasn't until 2.5 years later, when I was a guest at the JJ's Legacy Gala, that I was listening to the speakers, and they were talking about tissue donation, and it registered to me that he had been a recipient of tissue donation and how important that was, because I knew it was important to bring life back to his essentially dead flesh. I didn't connect that it had come from someone else.
Nathan was born with a chronic heart defect. We were airlifted to Valley Children's Hospital when he was about 36 hours old. He was finally stable enough at 8 days to have his first open heart surgery. So it was a few hours before that we knew that he was going to need a human donation. But without people being kind enough to donate somebody who they have lost or being a living donor, we would not have our son.
I can't think of anything more magical than being able to give the gift of comfort. JJ's Legacy delivers comfort bears, like the ones we saw Tanner and Nathan making, to patients in pediatric units and burn centers in the community. Sometimes comfort and the act of kindness is the best inspiration for getting well.
On behalf of over 200 essential workers here at Three-Way Chevrolet, we urge Kern County to support JJ's Legacy once again this year. The donation of eye, tissue, and organs is vital to our community.
We are very proud to support JJ's Legacy. This cause is very special to me personally. I of course have a pink dot on my license, and also Jeff Johns was a friend of mine from elementary school. I hope you too will register to be an organ and tissue donor.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us this evening to celebrate JJ's Legacy. Mechanics Bank has proudly been a sponsor of JJ's Legacy since their inception. You can make a difference by donating. All funds raised stay here in Kern County and help families that are waiting for their life-saving transplant.
It's so important for people young and old to know about organ donation and what the process of registering to become an organ donor looks like. Did you know that one person can save 8 lives and enhance 75 others through organ, eye, and tissue donation? Anyone, regardless of age or medical history, can sign up at jjslegacy.org. There are so many things that people may be unaware of or have false understandings with in regards to organ donation. That is why JJ's Legacy started programs in the high schools to educate new drivers to check yes at the DMV. The intention is to educate students and their families. Check this out.
So we learned about the JJ's Legacy Got the Dot program through our community service club at West High School. Yeah, so Laura and her team were able to share their individual experiences with organ donation, and just being able to have that newfound knowledge, we were able to discuss those things with our families and friends and be able to educate others about the process. In our meetings, not only did we learn about the science behind organ donation, we also were able to walk through the emotional journey that organ donation recipients go through themselves. Being able to hear their story really touched me, because if that was my sister, then I would want to be able to help her. We learned that most residents actually are in favor of organ donations, but are not signed up to be an organ donor. So our main goal is to help fill that gap by helping educate our community. The best way we found to do this is through communication. This was through a video we made in high school, and now in college we are doing a social media campaign. Because of this program, we are now registered as organ donors, and we wear the dot proudly. We hope that you join us today by checking yes at the DMV or signing up today at jjslegacy.org.
Did you know that anyone can become a potential organ donor regardless of age, ethnicity, or medical history? I didn't know that either. Now we all do. Now we have reached one of my favorite parts of JJ's Legacy's journey, the legacy of human kindness. Author Kevin Heath said, "Wherever there is a human in need, there is an opportunity for kindness and to make a difference." Every year, a sponsored donor is represented on the Donate Life float showcased in the annual Rose Parade in Pasadena, California.
The Community of Life sculpture is behind me. It is a honeycomb with bees on it that represents our donation healthcare heroes, our Florograph honorees, which are donors who gave the gift of life, and also a dedication garden with beautiful roses that were dedicated individually. We have this here at the Tournament House to continue sharing our message of Donate Life.
And I think it was brilliant of Donate Life to do this year, to not stop the tradition, to not stop the message. Just because we have a pandemic does not mean that people do not need organs. So by doing this, by getting all the media attention that they're getting, the message continues.
It's really a demonstration of humanity and kindness, and so I hope that they walk away feeling uplifted by the message.
It means the world to our family that we can have something that is a ray of light in a very tragic time in our lives the last few years.
Having our daughter's Florograph there is very touching. It's an honor. You can't minimize that honor, even with the COVID-19 that's going on. We need it at this time. To know that they can still do this is amazing.
Oh my gosh, we're just beside ourselves. I get chills just looking at it. I can see my son here with us, and we feel so blessed. I want everybody to be like Joe, be an organ donor, help all mankind.
To be able to look at her Florograph, all I see is love and the beautiful memories that we shared together, and I hope she's proud of me for everything that I've been able to do in her honor.
Oh, she's gonna be super happy.
Yeah.
She's loving it. I'm pretty sure in heaven right now she's rejoicing.
Yeah.
Like, look at me, my picture is there.
Yeah, that's how she is.
It's really an honor.
I really hope that people can see, just the gift that organ donation is. My 2-year-old is out there living on in others' lives. There's not many 2-year-olds we can say that gave that legacy of giving life.
The importance of what that float every year represents, and this year what that floral installation represents, is hope for the future, is the advancement of medical science, and the ability for people to have second chances.
This is America's New Year celebration. It's a great opportunity to continue sharing our message with so many around the world. And it's an opportunity to keep that message of life and hope going. So we will be part of the Rose Parade for years to come. This is our 18th year, and we would not miss this opportunity for the world.
It was really emotional to see her depicted in this way. That day of, there were, as you know, a lot of my close family and friends, Chantel's family, my family, some of Hannah's family. You go through your life and you know what human kindness is, but you never really know the definition of it until something like this happens to your family and it takes on a completely different meaning.
With us today we have Hannah and we have Mike representing the Murray family. We've got Lori representing JJ's Legacy, and what JJ's Legacy is about is making sure, A, that people choose to donate organs, that we have this opportunity of giving forward when a patient does pass, and C, making sure that that legacy, that history of that donor is going to be remembered going forward. So today we have a fluorograph honoring Chantel that we would like to pass to the Murray family. And so on behalf of Dignity Health Mercy Memorial Hospitals and JJ's Legacy, once again, we want to thank Chantel. We want to honor her and the Murray family for what you guys have done. And remember, paying it forward is the ultimate that a family can do in looking to the future. So thank you much for that.
Thank you very much. I was brought into a room and told that she was an organ donor. She was so young that we never talked about that. She had just turned 39 2 weeks before she passed away. So we had never discussed that. Come to find out a few weeks later that she was able to donate her heart, her lungs, her liver, her kidneys, her skin tissue. Pretty much everything that she had was donated. The only thing that happened is that she had a brain aneurysm and her body was completely healthy. So it's absolutely beautiful that she did that. I had no idea that she was an organ donor, and for 25 years of my life after I got my license, I never was. So that's a huge topic of conversation between my family and my friends and anyone that I run into.
I'm Russell Judd, the CEO at Kern Medical. Kern Medical is the community's local trauma center and provides high-end specialty care. We actively support JJ's Legacy and ask all of you to get the dot.
Valley Republic Bank would like to personally thank JJ's Legacy for educating our community on the importance of organ, eye, and tissue donation and consistently providing compassionate support to donor and recipient families.
Hi, I'm attorney Tim Osborne. I've been privileged to be a member of the Board of Trustees for JJ's Legacy since its beginning, and I want to thank everyone that supported the organization over the years. Organ and tissue donation is so important. I hope everyone watching will help us continue to raise awareness and spread the message. We're all better off and everyone benefits with each new pink dot. If you're not already a registered donor, go to jjslegacy.org and click the Become a Donor Now button. It's quick, it's easy, and it can save lives.
I'm Shane Shepard, General Manager of Bill Wright Toyota, and we've been a proud sponsor of JJ's Legacy for the past 11 years. Please join me tonight and register to be an organ, eye, and tissue donor at jjslegacy.org. Thank you.
When a loved one dies, and organ donation is an option, there's often a whirlwind that happens. Lots of people and paperwork, on top of the emotion and the reality of the situation at hand. Lori and her team saw a need to provide a space at the hospitals for families after they lost their loved one. Privacy, stillness, silence, simple comforts that make all the difference while still being at the hospital. Even though Lori and her team were faced with great adversity, they were able to acquire the space to create comfort rooms for the families facing the process of organ donation with their loved one.
We are here at Kern Medical in the JJ's Legacy Comfort Room. It's just an amazing space for the family. They have time to process, they have time to grieve, they have time to know what is going to actually take place with their loved ones. Because whenever you're an organ donor, it is a trauma, and it happens so quickly. Also, maybe they haven't said yes to donation yet, or maybe they weren't a registered donor. So the One Legacy team will take the family into JJ's Legacy Comfort Room and talk to them and give them that really quiet space where they need to be. Because it's really important to be able to make the right decision. And their loved one is in the ICU unit, so they can go in and visit them if they need to. What's great about this is that we have sleeper beds. We were able to paint the room. We were able to decorate it with flowers and a coffee pot, and we have a little refrigerator for water and snacks whenever the family needs something. And it's just really an amazing place. We have transformed this from a room next door to the ICU unit to a little JJ's Legacy Comfort Room right next door. And I just want to thank the community, especially the community, because my vision was to have this quiet space for the families and those that are waiting for organ donation. And with the community support, we were able to build the comfort rooms. And we have several in Kern County hospitals and more to come.
As we continue on with our journey, let's get ready to take flight with JJ's Legacy as we see how they plan to continue to soar into the future. Join us as we travel across the country.
My name is Mike Fertitta. I had something happen that was just too much of a coincidence. On May 15th, 2020, I was playing golf on my local course in Massachusetts, and I found a JJ's Legacy golf ball. I had no idea how it got there all the way from California. 9 years ago, my granddaughter had a heart transplant when she was just 3 weeks old. She's now almost 10 and is doing great. What I noticed was the Donate Life logo. I noticed the logo on the ball was the same as the one on my driver cover. When I got home, I looked up JJ's Legacy on the internet and was truly inspired. I suppose that ball hidden in the rough could have been found by anyone, but it was not a coincidence. It was destiny that it was me. Please keep up the great work you're doing for people like my granddaughter. It's truly a miracle how so many people have benefited from JJ's Legacy.
Well, how about that story? What are the chances a man clear across the country would find a JJ's Legacy golf ball with the Donate Life logo? And that his granddaughter was a heart recipient? I mean, wow. The message of JJ's Legacy is being delivered to other states, and the world awaits.
Hi, I'm Barry Zoller with Tejon Ranch, a longtime supporter of JJ's Legacy. Legacy means making the future better for others. And in calling our attention to the importance of organ and tissue donation, that's exactly what JJ's Legacy does.
Hi, I'm Kevin Burton with Klein, Dean & Telly Goldner. We've been supporting JJ's Legacy for a number of years. We believe in their cause and their programs. Please become an organ donor.
Hi, I'm Patrick Beck. For the past decade, Bakersfield Hyundai has been a proud supporter of JJ's Legacy. We believe in the cause of saving lives and these programs that provide education to our community to increase donor registrations. Please join me and many members of the Bakersfield Hyundai team. Become a registered organ, eye, and tissue donor and put a pink dot on your driver's license like this. Thank you for all your continued support and your belief in the JJ's Legacy mission.
Did you know that JJ's Legacy partners with a local food ministry to provide fresh food to patients on dialysis every month? Let's see what this is about.
We're here today at the Adventist Health Kitchen here at KGET 17. I'm Lori Malcolm, the founder of JJ's Legacy, and I'm here today with Lisa Borda from Borda Petite and Brett Sill from Morningstar Fresh Food Ministry.
What are we cooking today, Lisa?
Well, we're going to be cooking a Southwest stuffed sweet potato with a nice local ground beef. I am also going to teach you how to make a pico de gallo to top your Southwest sweet potato with.
So over the past year, JJ's and Morningstar partnered up together to give JJ's recipients the opportunity to have fresh, healthy, nutritious food because either they've received an organ or they are donated an organ. It's really hard for them to get out and about town. And so this gives them the opportunity to have a fresh food box delivered to their house where they can prepare healthy meals at home. So in the box every month, we get fresh meats from local butchers. We get fresh fruits and vegetables from local growers right here in Kern County. and we get potatoes and carrots and grapes and garlic and onions and peaches and watermelons when they're in season. So whatever's fresh and in season in this county, we have farm partnerships that partner with us to help us provide a really amazing box with fresh, healthy produce.
Who knew you could make a sweet potato look that fancy? I could almost smell it, and I don't even like sweet potatoes. You know, life can be challenging and throw some curveballs at times, and adjusting to those things as they arise and unfold is a big part of accepting that challenge. JJ's Legacy became aware of a need to help with transportation costs for those who are waiting for a transplant.
In Kern County alone, there are more than 1,000 patients on dialysis. These are our family members, friends, and neighbors. And for them, dialysis isn't optional, it's a life-sustaining treatment. At DaVita, while we provide dialysis, we have long believed that the best treatment option for our patients is kidney transplant. But the process to get a transplant can take time, which can be hard on patients. And in the Central Valley, an added barrier is distance. Our closest transplant center is nearly 2 hours away. That means a full day, including travel, for every visit, and most patients need to make several trips. That's why I'm grateful for the work of JJ's Legacy, which has supported my patients with prepaid gas cards to help them get to and from transplant centers. Together, JJ's Legacy and our team at DaVita were able to identify a solution to this barrier that can benefit patients across